Hey family, you're tuning in to the Jimmy Bonds podcast on Illadelphia Radio. Pardon any technical difficulties as we are recording live on the Zoom platform. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Yeah. Jimmy. Lights, camera, action. Some people thought I quit and I ain't giving satisfaction. From a different era, writing rhymes up on napkins. What you had to say was more important, man, than trapping. Yeah, I'm talking back to speaking of contemporary.
What's good, family, and welcome to another episode of Jimmy Bonds Podcast from Illadelphia Radio. This episode is sponsored by Major Flavor Catering. I'm your host, Jimmy Bonds. I'm here with my co-host, my man, Ty T. Wow, what's good, Ty? How you feeling?
All good in the neighborhood, live from the 215, Jimmy.
Live from the 215. You know how we do, family. And you know I can't forget my other co-host, Love and Affinity with the T. She would join us later. But family, remember, you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. Now, family, on this episode, we are continuing our Artist Spotlight series, and we are lucky enough, and I'm going to say humble enough, to be joined by our guest who is coming all the way from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, my man, Stemin. What's up, Stemin? How you feeling, man?
Hey, I'm great. How you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm doing great. Well, you know, we're going to jump right into it. But, you know, before I did that, a little introduction about you. I did read some about you. You are currently you are promoting your second album.
Yes.
Tell Your Heart. Is that right?
Tell Your Heart. Exactly, yes.
And you had an album that you released in 2017 called Love Through My Eyes. Is that right?
Love Through My Eyes, yes.
Love Through My Eyes. And, you know, I went and listened to Tell My Heart. And actually, Ty sent me the whole project via email and told me to listen to it immediately, like a month ago. He was like, "Yo, we need to listen to this right now, Jimmy. Right now, listen to it right now, Jimmy." And you know, I turned on the first song and I heard Closer, and I said, like, "Yo, Ty, this boy is ridiculous. Ty, we need to get him on the show." So, family, Stemin is a phenomenal artist. I'm just going to tell you now, and I hope. As the podcast goes on, you understand what I'm saying when we finish the podcast. You'll completely understand why I feel this way about this artist. So, Stemin, thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for being here, bro. I'm going to let Ty jump in with his questions first because I do a lot of talking. So I'm going to let Ty jump in with his questions. Go ahead, Ty. Do your thing, man.
Stem, how was it putting together R&B and jazz music? Because when I first heard your voice, I said, okay, all right. But then when I put the picture to the voice, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is like ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your music is great. Like, what started you into the music?
Yeah, thanks for asking that, actually. Well, so the thing is, I studied jazz in school. There's no R&B school. So I guess what gets closer to R&B and soul is jazz. It all comes from there, right? Somehow.
Yeah.
And I used to listen a lot to R&B when I was younger. My family gave me all kinds of music, but I fell in love with R&B. Donny Hathaway was one of my heroes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Nowadays, it's PJ Morton. So, you know, that's the vibe. And it's all like intertwined with gospel, of course. And it's a circle. It's all circling around, the vibe. So to answer your question, I studied jazz professionally, but then releasing this album was one of my dreams to really combine the styles. So R&B with the harmony of the jazz harmony and with pop influences and some electronics in it. Yeah.
Over there in the Netherlands, is the music platform big over there, or is it a small market?
Depends on the country. In Europe, we have certain countries. For example, in Germany, you have a lot of German rap. You have the UK. You have a lot of soul music. In the Netherlands, they have a lot of techno. So it depends. But there's a community for each kind of music in each country. So yeah.
You know, Stemin, one of the things I found really interesting, man, was your background is very diverse, my friend. Very diverse. You have a Swiss and German parents. Is that right?
Yeah.
You have
Yes.
Swiss and German parents, and you grew up in Italy.
Yes.
So the dynamic is very interesting. Tell me what it was like growing up in Italy. Like that's a very different background.
Yeah, so my parents moved to Italy. My father is actually, well, he's now retired, but he was a pastor. So I grew up in church. Basically, growing up in Italy, and I feel also Italian, feels like the best thing that can happen to you. I mean, the food is great, the weather is great, you know. Yeah, when I was young, I struggled for a while to really know, okay, I don't have Italian heritage, but that's where I am right now. So finding my place wasn't easy always, but nowadays I say, okay, I'm Italian, and it's okay to define things, but it's also good to leave it open and say we're children or we're citizenship of the world, so we're all the same. Yeah, so we don't have to define.
That's dope, man. I've been to Europe myself. I've never been to Italy, or Germany, or Switzerland for that matter. I spent a lot of time in Norway, and in England and UK. So yeah, like like you were talking about the European aspect of the music. It is different in each country. It's very different. In each country has a different feel, a different way of going. So yeah, I'm really digging that, man. Tell me this. Now I read something in your bio that I thought was really interesting, because Black music is often looked at in a different manner sometimes, man. And you mentioned Donny Hathaway, you mentioned your connection to gospel, and the fact that your mom was a pastor. You're a PK kid like me, believe it or not. I'm the son of a pastor, you're the son of a pastor, so there's a connection there. I find out when you grow up in the church, with all the singing and all the music that's involved with it, it's kind of like you don't have a choice really but to fall into it. You know what I mean? And especially being a pastor's son. And I find that music has a way of connecting people, and I also find it, not trying to be funny, but sometimes Black music has a way of connecting people that we don't necessarily realize. And I found that you have a very instant connection to gospel, jazz, R&B, and pop. Like, what was your attraction to that? What made you attracted to those things, to those genres of music?
Man, there's just soul. Like, there's this heart, this soul behind this kind of music. I mean, you cannot say the same of, okay, it's different, but I wouldn't say the same of opera. It's just different, opera is more like, it's almost theater. But with Black music, it's just like, it has a whole history behind it. It has this deep-rooted soul. And that's the most... I mean, Donny Hathaway, his brokenness was just like really connecting to me, and his voice, but everybody like PJ Morton, Stevie Wonder. I mean, just those are just like great names. In gospel, especially in church, you would kind of let it out, like completely, like raise your voice. I'm learning, and I'm really actually I feel sometimes really. I judge myself for doing this because I'm not Black, but I try to learn from the Black community and this heritage that was given, which is precious and unique. Yeah.
Okay, so Ty, you know how we always talking about people stealing our music and not paying homage to it and not giving it what it deserves. Like Stemin, even through your music, man. Like, you can hear it. You can hear where you give the credit to. You know what I mean? You can hear your influences. You can hear the time you take with your music. You know what I mean? And how you let it marinate, as we always like to use that word, how you let it marinate and slow cook, to get the product that you want. And that's really where that music, a lot of that music from, those generations, and even currently some of them, that's where it comes from. You know what I mean? It's a process with it. And I could definitely tell listening. One of my faves was "Cause You Know," the extended version. Yeah. Okay. So you see Ty shaking his head like, yo, yes. I mean, Stemin, that one, I mean, I had to listen to it a couple times because it just, the way that you sing on it is familiar but different. You know what I mean? It's like, have I heard this cat before? No, I haven't heard this cat before, but it's something like people want to hear things that are familiar, right? Oh, I know what this sounds like. But you possess that I guess that knack where it's like you know what it sounds like, but you haven't heard it before. You know what I mean? And it just impresses you to the point where you're like, yo, this is dope, man. Let me go wake my wife up. She got to hear this. You know what I mean? Like, I'm serious. That's what I did, baby. Listen to this song. 4 o'clock in the morning. Listen to this song. And, Stemin, I mean, artists come on all the time, and, I go on my spew about them, but I really appreciate the work that you put in with your music. You know what I mean? I'm a musician myself. Ty's a musician himself. So when we hear other musicians, we're like, yeah, man, they really put some time and effort into it, particularly instrumentals, particularly live. You know what I mean? I heard your live version of your songs. And it's just, you gotta know that, man. I really appreciate how you have embraced the culture, but then at the same time made it your own. That's what people in the community love. They love originality. You don't have to be Black for us to embrace that. You know what I mean? Like it's just across the board. We're just all we're all the same. You make great music, you make great music. It's just that simple, And I say all that to say, Stemin, like I just appreciate your style, man. I appreciate your music, your uniqueness. I can go on forever, but I'm gonna ask some more personal questions or some more professional questions. Talk to me, before this is the last question before we go to break. Talk to me about. I read something you said about being put in a box and how we really work to try to get out of that box that we put in. What were your thoughts about that?
Hold on real quick, Jimmy. Let me run it to you real quick. Life is not about being told you are one thing and not another, or being put in a box. You can be many things and to many people. And I hope my experiences allows others to realize the same, whether now or in time.
Right. Yeah, that's what I read. Talk to us about that, man. That's a very powerful quote, a very powerful philosophy to think behind. So I really wanted to hear what you had to say about it. Elaborate on it for us.
Well, that answer doesn't take 2 minutes, no. But as humans, I guess we tend to do that naturally. We try to put everything into boxes because it helps us to understand the world. And so with that sentence, I don't want to point the finger and say, okay, you did wrong. My parents did this, that friend did this person, blah, blah, blah. But more like, okay, realize that we are the same, but put myself in a position where I question that. The idea that we put everything into boxes. And what am I saying is that when we grow up, we receive an influence from our parents, our environment, and many times it's given to us as the ultimate truth. So it's like, okay, this is how you should do it. This is how it's done. It's been done for the last 100 years. You should do it the same. And so we kind of grow up with this mindset of knowing we have the ultimate truth, which is not the truth in the end, because there are other people on the other side of the world who live differently, and they are fine. They're perfectly fine. So my goal is to break those bridges, because also putting things in boxes creates like walls, because automatically I'm putting up walls. I'm putting up them. So my personal experience was, I wouldn't say really positive with my growing up with church, but I'm not blaming it. It's not that I'm saying, oh, church is bad. No, it's just that what was given to me was given in a way that people were thinking it's good for me, while it was kind of hurting me and putting me in a box. Yeah, but nothing personal.
Nothing personal at all, Stemin. Nothing personal at all, my friend. If it's kind of like you over here talking. You don't walk into the right cipher, my friend, because me, Ty, and T. When T was here, she would tell you the same thing. We are constantly talking about how we live and people put us in boxes, and how we work so hard to get out of these boxes in every which way. You know what I mean? You're automatically put in a box because you're European. You know what I mean? You're European, so you're automatically this way. We're automatically put in boxes with Black or whatever. I'm short. Ty's a little taller than me. We're automatically put in these boxes. A lot of what we do is try to break those stereotypes and those ideals that people have about the boxes. And you just really articulated what I'm always trying to say for people is that these boxes, even in church, you know, these boxes hinder us from growing as people. It makes us more about, you know, my saying is only time you should be in the box is when you're dead. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that. Yeah. At the end of the day, that's all it's about, man. That's all it's about.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's all it's about, man. We're going to take a quick break, family. Remember, you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. It's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. You'll listen to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We'll be right back.
Why don't you give me the green light? This moment that we got feels like eternity. Girl, can't you see what we got here? Diamonds and gold that blind our souls. No clouds up in the sky. You brought the sun in my life.
Hey, this is Michael from Abu Dhabi. Listen to Jimmy Bond's podcast on Illadelphia Radio.
Welcome back to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We thank you for listening. Remember, family, you can call us at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com.
And welcome back to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. And again, family, we're continuing our Artist Spotlight series, and we are so lucky to be joined all the way from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. My man Stemin, he has given us his background, telling us a little bit about his story, sharing his insight, and I am definitely blessed and humbled that he is here with us. So Stemin, we thank you for joining us, man. I'm gonna let my man Ty jump on with the questions. So, you know, I always talk, so I'm gonna let Ty do this thing, man.
The first song I actually played was Better Than Wine. So it comes on, and I'm like, okay. And then when it gets to the part, kiss me, fool me, it's like I just got up and started straightening up the room. I started walking around the house just doing things, you know, like straightening up the house. It got me moving. The song just gets you moving. It's a great song, Stemin. It's a great song. It gets you moving. And one of the things I noticed too, your videos, they're like well put together.
Man.
Do you like choreograph your videos, or do you have someone that you work with in doing that?
I do like to work with other artists as well. Those two videos you saw, Closer and Better Than Wine, I guess, are they were directed with an artistic director, a friend of mine actually, and she really helped me to put my thoughts into practice. But I always love to include all types of arts. So if it's visuals, dancers, performers, and then of course video makers and people who do clothing and fashion. And I like to actually include all these things in the music, yeah. But Better Than Wine is actually it's a song about how love can be. There are two types of love, and one love is the quick love, and is the love that resembles wine, and is that love that is instant, gives you that kick like wine, but then after a while it's gone. While love, the real love, which is the love that needs to be fought for, and the love that stays for a long time, that's something precious and is different than that type of love.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for bringing that up.
I can listen to you break some stuff down for a minute. I'm like, what? Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. That's pretty dope. Hey, Ty, you know how philosophical we get over here, right? You know how we always think it thinking like big thoughts, right? I'm seeing this time, like I told you, he fit right in. He fit right in, man.
yeah. Nice. Great.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up.
Now, do you compare yourself to other artists, or you feel as though you set yourself apart from the rest of the musical world that's out there because your style is unique.
Yeah.
Thanks. I actually listen to everything except for metal. I listen to everything. So of course I have my favorite artists and the one that I really look up. But I really like to explore all kinds of music, everything. Yeah.
Is there an artist you would like to do a song with?
I would really love to collaborate with PJ Morton. So if you know him personally, actually, give him my number or my email.
I told you he fit right in. I told you Ty fit right in. And I'll throw a question out for him. Tell us about your single Dare.
There is what it says. The song is about, it's about a relationship and it's about how sometimes we have to dare something. Mm-hmm. And in this case, it's about a relationship and how sometimes there's one person who's, let's say, more involved than the other one. And it's like an invitation to let go of years old relationship experiences and dare to move on, dare to let go. The song says we're like comets falling from the sky, drifting away, and to let go and get, for example, in this case, involved in this relationship. Actually, tomorrow on YouTube, I will publish a live version of it, the one that we did at the Funny Bone Studios. So you can check it out.
Yeah, I'll be checking it out. I'll definitely be checking it out, man. You know, T, I'm sorry. T, go ahead and throw your question in, T.
When did you, because you write songs, but how old were you when you wrote your first song?
Good question. Those songs are horrible. Those songs are horrible.
Oh, wow. No, don't say that.
I mean, they're just like, I was, I think, 15 or 16. So, I mean, I was going through my teenage years, you can imagine. And so, like, please, I don't want to hear that. Maybe something, but no.
That's a start.
It's a start. Yeah, it's a start. It's like a draft.
Like a draft, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I listen. I definitely understand it, man. I definitely understand it. Now,
yeah, you write songs too,
right? You know, I write. I wrote a song this morning. I'm just saying. I'm always right. So
we should write together.
I would love to collab with you. I'm sure me and Ty would love to do something. We definitely would. It would be amazing. It'd be awesome. Let's do it. It's done. It's done. You said enough said. No problems. It's done. It's done. It's done. Okay. We gonna get back to professional work. Okay, listen. Now, you talk a lot about the classics, right? And how you have fascination, or you have an attraction to the classics. How you love the classic music, the R&B. Do you feel that technology, or do you feel that technology has changed the way music is done these days? Like, not like, I guess, the purity of it. You know what I mean? Because R&B before is completely different than what it used to be. You didn't really need a voice nowadays to sing R&B. You can just get on there and do some auto tunes and you a star. You know what I mean? So. Like, so you, from a person who works, you know what I mean, who does this work, how do you feel technology has either assisted or taken away from, the music?
Well, there's this concept of listening for 30 seconds or 15, and then you swipe and you move to the next song. I mean, all the streaming services, we as musicians, artists, we were forced to kind of give in to all those services. But it takes away everything, basically, because, writing a song, you're putting your energy, your time, your money to produce it, to hire the musicians, to make it sound really well. And then people, hear it for 30 seconds, and that's it, It's a good thing to have access to all this music because with one click, you can just listen something instantly, like also YouTube and everything. But it's also, of course, damaging somehow. And I think it's a problem for my generation, our generation, to really appreciate. We lost appreciation. And also in life, in relationships, we just give up because we can have another thing, and so we don't do any effort. We don't put ourselves into it because we can just have the next. So it kind of relates to that as well. But it helps also when we should collaborate. Yeah.
Let's talk about collaboration, right?
Yeah. On the other side of the world.
I mean, on the other side of the world. I mean, we're so far, but yet we're so close. We're
Exactly.
so close.
Close.
You know, you really just said some stuff right there, and you know, I think all of us, I think the family, the team, we always feel like, you know, the music is not. I mean, the music has been, it's particularly in America. I can say it might be different in Europe, you know what I mean, but particularly in America, and I'm going to say particularly Black music in America, we have lost the need to want good music, you know, and it's really based on what we think the consumer wants, instead of being like, you know, if you don't want all this music, I'm just going to give you one song for a year, you know what I mean? But they want so much from you, but they only want to listen for 15 seconds. So it's like you kind of in a catch-22. You're like, do I just keep putting out all this music so I can get more attention, or you know, because I've worked my ass off for it, you know what I mean? Or do I stockpile? You know what I mean? Do I keep it all for myself and put it out in a different way, or you know, I mean, everybody has goals, Stemin. Everybody has goals, but I mean, I know as musicians and as people in the industry, it's a frustrating thing, you know what I mean? Because we're trying to make good music for the consumer, but in return, the consumer's like, yeah, give me 15 seconds. Okay, I'm good. You know, and it's like I might as well just give you a jingle. You know what I mean? I might as well just make a quick commercial for you, and that would be my song. You know, and I'm not trying to insult the consumer. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to insult the consumer, but I'm really telling you, I completely agree with everything you're saying. We, like you said, we've been forced to. Yeah, we've been forced to deal with this. You know what I'm saying?
We're part of it. And
yeah. I mean, because it's almost like if you want to make money, this is the way you have to do it. You know what I mean? Or if you want to get the exposure, this is the way you have to do it. So, you know, like I said, it's a catch-22. You know, it's a catch-22. Ty, how you feel about what Stemin was saying?
I mean, it's true. And I was actually going to bring up the question as far as him doing performances. Is it difficult to do performances now, or how is it right now as far as doing performances live?
Yeah. So basically, we've been in lockdown since, lockdown. We've been going into lockdown, out of lockdown, partly lockdown. It's been going on since March. So there were some times in the summer we did some concerts, but it were like 3-4, that's it. So no, we haven't had any chance yet. It's all being done online, social distancing. We did the recordings in the studio, did some shooting, but that's it.
Yeah. Now, as far as your live performances, what was the best place you performed at? Building, theater, where was the best place?
The best place was in Italy some years ago, and it was the stage was basically overlooking the sea, so you could see the sea, and it was amazing view. Amazing view, and just being in contact with the nature and this infinity of looking at the sea and not having a limit. I think this is one of the best feelings ever. You don't have a wall, you don't have a curtain, you're facing the sea. This is one of the best things and one of the best concerts I played. Yeah.
They say the environment makes the concert.
Now, do you feel as though the voice? Yeah, I know, right? Now, do you feel as though the voice is another instrument?
It's an instrument, because what I like about the voice is you can try to fake it, but you cannot, because it's instantly coming out. Mm-hmm. It comes out the way it is. If you're sad and you feel sad in a moment, it will come out sad, and vice versa. It can happy or whatever. So I really love it, because that's why I said also it's connected with the soul. It's kind of directly connected to the soul. There's no filter. You cannot put a filter to it, especially when you play live or acoustically, let's say. So when you play an instrument, you have keys to press, but with the voice, you're naked. You're in front of your audience, the people who are listening. Yeah.
You're completely bare, as they say. You're completely bare. Yeah.
Bouncing off what Ty just said, and you talked about the voice. Would you rather perform a cappella or have your live band behind you if you have a live band? Because you said the voice.
Yeah. I mean, do you know when? I mean, I feel like I would perform a cappella.
Yeah.
But okay, depends also what song, right?
Oh, yeah.
Some songs are very nice to like vibe to and have the bass, you know, and drums. Uh, but you can always make an acoustic version, right?
Right, right.
So both is nice. But I think there's something special about the voice, how the voice comes out naturally. And also, if I think about my mother, my father, when they used to sing to me when I was a baby, just hearing a voice singing to you is just so calming you down and soothing. Yeah.
You know, you talked a lot about the voice in your bio, about the dynamics and the power of it. And, you know, we're talking about voice. We all had a question about voice. But I find it interesting. Do you think that as an artist, that your voice today is better and more qualified for what you want to do now than what you say maybe when you first started and you were like, yo, I got to hurry and get out there? You know what I mean? Like, do you feel like you're able to take more of center stage for yourself as far as you being comfortable with who you are? And you know what I mean? Do you feel like over time your voice develops into that? You know what I mean? Or do you feel like sometimes people just have it automatically? I think sometimes experience changes your voice. Like what you go through changes your voice. I was wondering, you know, on your end, do you think that the voice is, it's like, you know, liquor, it's like good liquor. It matures over time. You know what I mean? And you know, if you preserve it for the right amount of time to let it out, when it finally comes out, it'll be ready. It'll be what it's supposed to be. What do you think of that? Because like I said, you focus on the voice a lot. What do you think of that?
I think it changes it changes with you. So it changes with you aging or with you maturing. And as you said, right? Also, it can be not that high anymore after a while, right? Or become more, it can become lower. And I think there's also beauty in that, and to allow yourself to do that. And if like after 30, 40 years, you're like, okay, I cannot sing that song anymore, that's fine. It's part of who you are, right? It's your history and you should appreciate it. Yeah, it changes in time with interests and tastes. Everything you do, the influences you get from other music styles. So it definitely changes. Yeah.
I think that's a big thing because do you find it interesting that a lot of the record labels go after young people? If your voice matures that over time, if your voice matures over time, do you feel like it would be better to have a more qualified voice by that point instead of taking a younger voice? You know what I mean? Like Michael Jackson. By the time he retired, by the time he passed away, his voice was completely different than when he first started as a kid. And the labels wanted the kid, but you know, as he got older, you could see or you could tell that it was like, hey, I need my voice to come out, you know? That's really what I wonder sometimes about just the industry in general. Do they gravitate or go after the youth and not give their voice time enough to develop to where it's supposed to be, you know? Is that a tactic, or is that just like the youth want these people, so is that a marketing tool? You know what I mean? I'm always wondering that.
Maybe they go after the hip thing. So, imagine living in the 20s or 30s when jazz was a big thing and swing and people would just dance. And then the 70s and 80s with Earth, Wind and Fire. And, you know, that was just commercial at that time, but it was great music.
Yeah, it was.
Compared to commercial today, you know.
Right.
So I think they made Ella Fitzgerald they wanted her to sing also pop music, but it was just a disaster. And I guess they just go after the hip thing for the moment.
That's something I guess we'll talk about another time.
But we still have like great voices that are still active. Thank God.
Yeah. Who are some of the great active voices that you think about?
So, for example, well, it can be argued, but Jaka Chan.
Oh God, yeah.
She's one of them. She also did like jazz and then went into gospel.
Yeah.
There's some music that stays forever, and for me, like Stevie is kind of like one of those artists. He's also great. He was still great when I saw him in Italy 4 years ago. It's amazing, like performing and singing everything by himself and playing. There's, I mean, this easy success that we have nowadays, it fades, in my opinion, after a while. So you really have to question your motives and be like, do I do what I do because I really love it? And in time will tell. If you really love it and you have a passion for it, you will keep doing it in 10, 15 years. If not, it was just a temporary thing. So yeah.
That's right. I'm over here. I'm Stemin, you just, man, you touching my heart, dude. Touching my heart over here, bro. Like I'm just like, man, I feel like I found my twin overseas, Ty. He's just more mellow than I am. You know what I mean? He's more mellow. He's more chill. Jimmy be on sometimes. His name is a little more chill than I am. But listen, family, we're gonna take a quick break. Remember, family, you can call us with your comments or questions at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. You will listen to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast of Illadelphia Radio. We'll be right back.
You can fool me, play hide and seek.
Hey, this is Megan from Abu Dhabi. Listen to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio.
Welcome back to the Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We thank you for listening. Remember, family, you can call us at 844-844-1244. Again, it's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com.
And welcome back to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. Now, again, family, we are continuing our Artist Spotlight series. We are lucky enough to be joined by Stemin all the way from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, by way of via Italy. That's what I say. He's from Italy. He's Italian. What's your favorite soccer team? You watch football?
Ooh, don't get me started on that.
Oh.
Milan.
You AC Milan? Okay, all right. At least you ain't Juventus. If you were Juventus, I'd be like, oh man, come on. Anyway, I'm sorry. But family, we were continuing our interview with Stemin, and he was talking to us a lot about his background growing up, his influences, his attraction. He's breaking down his music, what some of his songs mean. I mean, just an extensive, beautiful interview. And as we continue, I'm going to let Sister T jump in with her questions. So, Sister T, take off.
Hi. I want to know, because I see you're into like the instruments and everything. Like you're really in tune. Some artists just put a beat on and just sing to it or rap to it, but you're really in tune with your instruments. What instrument did you play first, and what instrument do you continue to play now? It's like a two-parter.
Yeah. So I'm the youngest of 6 children. And yeah, you can say that loud. So my parents, they all kind of, I wouldn't say forced, but they encouraged us to have lessons as kids. So we could pick like from piano, flute, saxophone. And I actually picked first piano and then saxophone. And then I went back to the piano. And I guess piano is the instrument for me that I really connect, you know. If there's something I need, then maybe a piano and a glass of wine, that's it. That makes me really happy.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
It makes me happy. And I still play now. I also have like 2 guitars here, an acoustic and electric, and I play a bit of drums, but let's say piano is how I usually write also the music. And the Tell Your Heart album, actually, we recorded full band. So with bass, drums, keys, vocals, saxophone, and trumpets. And then we did some post-production on it, but I wanted to have live instrumentation on the album to build that bridge with the jazz world and the played music.
Yeah, piano. Piano was in my family too, man. So I definitely dig it. But my granddad was a jazz musician. He played piano. He had a trio and everything. We can talk about that offline. We'll talk about that offline.
Nice. Yeah.
Nah, go ahead, man.
When you recorded up at the Funny Bones studio, the other musicians, are they your band or just musicians that came together to put together your song? And who are they?
Yeah, no, so let's say 80% of, well, let's say almost everybody in the recording we did in the studio that day are also are featuring on the album as well. And they're all over Europe. So 2 of them are from the Netherlands, and then everybody else is just like Spain and Russia, and me from Italy. So there's like a combination of different musicians. We are all here living in the Netherlands, and I actually found them here, and this was really great to connect and to record this album. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Now, moving forward, I noticed with your songs, it seems like every song is telling a story. Is that the case? Because it seems like you're telling a story in every song.
Yes. So Tell Your Heart is actually okay. So the thought behind it is that we have one heart, and we have to take care of our hearts. There's no one else who can do that. There's no one else, nor our partner, our parents, brothers, sisters, but we have to take care of it. So we have to kind of guard it. We have to look after it, because this is very Christian, but like this, like the heart is the source of everything, and the heart talks of what's inside. So, so this was like the thought behind it. So I tried to write a story for each song. Well, I came up with some of the songs. I came up with lyrics, and I wanted to always go back to the heart in every song. So Better Than Wine, Closer, Shine Bright, If I Tell You, There. It's all about the heart, and it can be related to people, but in my case, it's related to my heart and how I have to take care of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's deep, man. That's why we all quiet.
I'm waiting for the book now.
Me too, bro. That's why we all quiet. I'm just listening like that.
Write a book now.
Hey, Ty, you think like you always be like, man, I know I'm the only one that think like this. Well, wait a minute. No, I'm not. I love when everybody think like this. It's like it's like you feel like sometimes your ideas you're isolated because you're just in your own head, But I find like everything you're talking about, everything you're saying is touching me because it's a lot of what I feel. Like you say, it's very Christian, but it's not very Christian. It is very Christian, but it's very human. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what people forget about Christianity, is that it's a very human religion. It's very human, or when I say religion, a very human following. Yeah. And it's not about it's about what you feel, and the feeling always starts in your heart.
Yeah.
And like Ty was saying, you tell a story through all of your music. You tell a story, and if you have a point in your heart or a point in your mind where you feel like you can't tell a story, like you were saying, like it talks about you're the only one that's in charge of your heart. You have to speak for yourself and how you feel, how your heart is feeling. Like that's so real. That's so real. That's so real. Somebody just probably needed to hear yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, but it's real, man. It's real. Now, I just appreciate you really dissecting your work like that, and and making it plain. Making it plain. And I mean, I think a lot of times we hear songs, we don't know where they come from. You know, we don't know what went behind them and why somebody wrote that song. You know, but I can hear it in every song that you have. I can hear it. I can definitely hear it. It all comes from the heart. It's all about the heart. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I was used. I mean, I grew up very like having to compare myself to my siblings, being the youngest, being in the environment, the traditional environment I grew up. So I always had to kind of step up and perform almost to be something or to be accepted, which of course is wrong in the end. It was just in my mind, but that's how I felt as a kid. And so I came to a point in my life where I had to say, okay, I have to take care of my heart, and I have to tell my heart good things, and it's about how I am and not what I do. It's about who I am and not what I do, because I will always do good and bad things, but it's not about that. It's not how I cannot judge myself for that, because I will always mess up somehow. But I feel you, and exactly what you said.
I mean, I told you, Ty, I got a twin, Ty. I got a twin.
Yeah.
That's for sure. T, I know you had some more questions. Go ahead and jump in there real quick.
Well, after that. What do you look forward in the near future? Like after, I mean, at this point we are all sheltered in, but when, like, let's say when it opens up, because the Netherlands are like shut down, like completely, like not over here. What do you have hope for the future with your music and touring and things like that?
Yeah. So actually, I was supposed to come to the US in September. And then in March, I knew, okay, this is not going to happen. I mean, I saw the situation here and there, and then the elections, and then everything with Black Lives Matter, and everything that was happening. The whole country is just like a war, like almost a war, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and especially New York is
war zone, yeah.
And so in the end, I canceled all the plans to move there. I wanted to move for half a year to do a kind of an exchange program. With music. Yeah. I would have come to Philly, but
I mean, it's only 2 hours away. You come to New York. You come to New York, only 2 hours away. I mean, it would have been no break.
I will. So I have to come to Philly anyway.
We love to have you, man.
But so now I'm actually I'm still writing, and I am getting in the studio again, and that's the only thing I can do right now, because I can do it from home. I can write with people remotely, and hopefully, yes, touring would be a nice thing to do, and it was also planned, but then it all got cancelled.
Yeah, everything just went AWire.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. I mean, just like to feel people and to share stories like we are doing right now. That's that's the reason why I do music, and yeah, that's the reason actually. So it's meant to be shared. It's meant to be live. So hopefully.
Well, we'll see you in 2021, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
We'll see.
Hey, Stemin, can I ask you a question? And you can answer if you want. You don't have to answer.
Yeah.
Do you still go to church?
Good question. No, I don't. And I tell you why. Because I got... it's a long story. I don't know how much time we have, but we can talk about this.
You know what, Stemin? Before you start, I would like to hear it.
I'm not like... I would really love to go, but I need my time. Honestly, like I need my time to get over certain things, because it's a long story. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
And there are certain things I'm processing right now, so this is also part of it. I haven't losing connection with God, so that's still there. It just changed. And I was very involved in church when I was younger, and I was being a worship leader, and that's also why I was playing always. So it's a big part of my life and how it affected my life, and it kind of also created what I was talking before about the doing the stuff, always doing, always working in church, doing stuff as a PK. And so I need my time to really deal with a break. But I know that it's a good place. I mean, all my friends, and it's a good social place where you you have family, you have people from all ages, you have young, old, and you don't have that anywhere else actually, because outside you look for friends and you look for friends in your age, which you don't in church because you get put there and you kind of almost forced to be with these people. And that's an amazing thing because you learn so much from their life. And anyway, so, but we can talk about this if you want.
That's what I was doing, Hey, I told you these PK kids, man. Us PK kids a little bit different sometimes. Sometimes we there's two ways you either go. You either fall away or you go all the way in, and I ask that question. I always ask that question to people who are like, who have similar backgrounds, because particularly in music, particularly if you were a PK kid growing up and then you started doing music, you have this kind of battle inside yourself where you're trying to decide what do I do? You know what I mean? From what I'm taught to where I want to go. And it becomes it's an internal battle, but it's also something that kind of hangs over your head, kind of, that it doesn't allow you to be the full artist you want to be, or the full person that you might want to be, out of repercussions, or the fact you were taught that you will have repercussions. You know what I mean? We were talking about the boxes. We're talking about breaking out of those boxes and breaking out of those things. And I find that, like I said, it's a fine line between being engulfed in the church and then completely breaking away. You know what I mean? And I'm a person that I broke completely away. I couldn't spend my time in church anymore because of just everything I had learned. You know what I mean? What I had learned from my mom, what I seen being behind closed doors with the pastors, just the people involved with it, the church attitude, the church philosophy, the church kind of shame on you things. You know what I mean? It's a catch-22, because as much as it's loving, it's also like exclusive kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's also like we want you in here, but you got to be like this. And it's kind of like, that's not what you really want in church, period. And that's what I just personally, I'm not trying to go into that, but personally, I completely understand what you're saying, that I need my time. You know what I mean? I need my time to breathe, to be who I need to be for myself, to find my heart. You know what I mean? To see what my heart is saying, to find it, and that's why I asked that question, Stemin. I asked that question because of that, man.
No, like, also I think, as PK, you grow up there, so you never get to know anything else. You kind of, which is different for other people who go to church when they're older or when they're in their 40s, for example. So that's also a big thing, because you grow up in this system, and a lot of things are good, but a lot of things are very human, so are very controlling. This is not anything that God said. It's just like the human part that comes forward and wants to take over because of insecurities, maybe, especially here in Europe, we have that a lot, this controlling. So it's there because people need people, the churches need people to move on, to stay alive. So I understand it, but it's in my opinion, a wrong attitude to do things, I mean, maybe this whole quarantine lockdown thing helps also churches to open their eyes and understand that nobody's going, or at least here in Europe, you cannot meet more than 5 people. So people are not going to church, which means they have to survive in a different way. And maybe that helps somehow.
I think it helps to get closer to God sometimes. Yeah. I feel like if you don't have any distractions, that's the best time to talk to him. That's just my opinion. That's just the way I feel. But look, man, I told you, bro, Like, I told you, bro. I feel like it's like you say so much. I sit in my house sometimes and think these things, and I call Brother Ty and I tell him about these things. Yeah. And I sit on the phone and debate with Sister T about them sometimes, and she agrees with me, but sometimes she disagrees with me. But it you know, I say all that to say, like, Stemin, like, I know this is about your artist spotlight and your career. You can't take away that from who you are. Not that it's made you who you are today. Not to say that's the case. It has given you fuel for where you are today. Better understanding. Like, I understand more about things now than I did before when I was, not to say when I was in church, not like that. Well, I went to church and I didn't know nothing. When I came out of church and I started kind of living my life, living Christian, I guess I would say, I started understanding more just about being human. You know what I mean? And more about connecting with people on a different level. You know what I mean? Sometimes Christians be like, if you ain't Christian, I can't connect with you. You know what I mean? Wait a minute. That's not what God said. You know what I mean? God said we were a lot bigger. And we talk, you know, we're all connected in some kind of way.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
And that's what I feel anytime I talk to anybody, no matter what the race is. T feels the same way, Ty feels the same way. We all want to connect with people, you know, through and anytime you talk to a person, spirits intertwining, spirits coming together, right? We all want to make sure that whoever you talk to, it's a good interaction. It's a reciprocating thing where, you know, we're communicating. I'm not just sitting here, you're telling me how I should live my life. I could go on forever about this. I know you can go on forever about this. I know Ty can go on forever about this. And you know what? This is what we're going to do, T. This is what we're going to do, Ty. On the next, we have a podcast called Spirituality versus Religion versus Science. Okay?
Ooh, I love that.
Okay? And so, Stemin, on the next, we're going to do another one, and we're going to invite you on because we have to have you on there to give you a philosophy and give you, it would be awesome. I mean, am I right, Ty? Am I right, T?
You're right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Am I right? He's talking like we talk, like he been listening to our podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow, I would love that.
Stemin, you are more than welcome, man. And you know the way we have all bonded here on this, no pun intended, T. The way we have all come together here today, like I always feel like I get another family member, you know. I get to meet a family member that I didn't know before. I was like, wow, look, we got family in the Netherlands now. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of feel. I mean, that's what I always want when I bring our guests on. I want them to feel like they're home. You know what I mean? I want them to feel like they're a part of us. They're not just, hey, you come on the show and you're just gonna come talk to us. And, you know, I know sometimes it's the way it is in the industry, all professional, and that's, I mean, we're professional, yes, but I want you to feel like you're home, like you're talking to people that you know. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sure both everybody wants us. We want to feel like, you know, we understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And you know,
I feel it.
You feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, and the love is mutual, Stemin. The love is so super mutual, man. That, you know, we can go on forever. I wanted to let the family know a lot about what you have coming up. I know you just dropped your project in August. I mean, it's really brand new, to be honest with you. Just came out. Like, that's the way I say it. You dropped in August, it just came out. So, you know, I would tell the family, tell everybody to go Tell Your Heart. It's on all platforms as well, but I'm gonna let Stemin do his thing and please plug all your music and your social media sites, please.
Yeah, especially connect with me on social media, because I always like to write back and create a community, create network. There's people who support me in this, but I'm reading everything. So if you're writing me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm always reading it and I'll always reply back. And for future projects, I mean, next year, hopefully I will, release more music, and we'll see how that goes.
Todd, you got any questions, man?
I actually have a lot of his links that are going to be posted, and they're probably posted now on the radio station in the Artist Spotlight. So I know people will be going through the Artist Spotlight and reaching out through his links. And my last question would be, are you getting radio play over there in the Netherlands?
Yes, I'm getting radio play here, yes, as well, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That's what's up, man.
But thank you for your support, which is great.
Yes.
I was going to tell you definitely playing on Illadelphia radio. We played before we got the interview. I got the phone call. He was like, hey, Jimmy, we got the music. Go ahead and play it. Put it on. Just put it on. Let it go. Put the whole thing
Put it on. Nice.
But when you come, Stemin, we'll do we'll do a live version. We'll play your whole album live, man.
Yes.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even if it's not allowed, we can do maybe it's in the summer, so we can do a outside concert or something. So
we can do a drive-in concert. We can do a drive-in concert. Like these are ideas that we were thinking about for next year anyway. So, man, listen. T, you have any questions, T?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
I can't wait for 2021. Might see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, really,
That's like the hope. 2021.
Yeah. No, really, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure. And talking overseas, it's insane. Here, you're there.
Technology.
Listen, it's crazy what we can do these days, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy what we can do.
This in the 90s.
Crazy what we can do these days. Well, family, I'm going to tell you, I like the team have thoroughly enjoyed this interview.
Yes.
Stemin, like I said, my brother from another mother. I appreciate you, fam. I appreciate everything you're doing and the music that you're making. Continue doing your thing, my friend. Continue. Remember, family, you can get all of Stemin's music. His album, his project is out right now. It's Tell Your Heart. Please go get it up. Go listen to it. Actually, I saw it on SoundCloud. It's on all platforms. Go listen.
Spotify.
Great music, Spotify, Apple, all of it. Just go listen. It's there. As I do with all these interviews, Stemin, I want to thank you for coming on. We are humbled. We are thankful. We're joyous. We thank you for your insight. We thank you for your wisdom. Your wisdom, bro. And we do nothing but wish you nothing but the best in the future. And when this coronavirus is over, we know we're gonna see you. So
promise is a promise.
we know we're gonna see you. We know you're gonna see you. But listen, family, on that note, remember you can call us with your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, it's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JINNYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. So until the next episode, you can find me on Good Hope Road screaming, "Stay up, don't sleep in your dreams." I'm Jimmy Bonds, and I'm out. Peace. Fam, that's going to wrap the show. We want to thank you for listening to Jimmy Bonds Podcast on Illadelphia Radio. We ask you leave your comments and questions at 844-844-1244. Again, that's 844-844-1244. You can also email us at jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's jimmybondspodcast@gmail.com. That's JIMMYBONDS podcast@gmail.com. Now remember, family, we are still in the COVID-19 pandemic, so please remember to wash your hands, wear a mask, and practice social distancing. Also, remember to take nothing for granted and value every opportunity you have with your friends, your family, and your loved ones. For in these times, every moment is sacred. So until the next episode, you can find me on Good Hope Road, screaming, "Stay up, don't sleep in your dreams." I'm Jimmy Bonds, and I'm out. Fight on, come on.